What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Wrestling Junkies Podcast. I'm Mr. Cincinnati, and as always, I am joined by the podcast dad, Choops. How you doing, buddy? It's been a long weekend.
Man, real life hit me right in the face. It was a near fall, but I'm here. I'm here. Don't worry about me.
This episode just needs to be called Grr Mondays.
I think it does. I mean,
I
freshly shaved. The vacation beard's gone. That you actually noticed this time. Thank you. No, it's gone.
Yeah.
You can't see it now, stupid. Jesus. But no, SummerSlam weekend was fun. AIW was fun. It was a lot of fun. We had a great weekend, and I'm excited to talk to some people about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, before we introduce our guests, just a few announcements to run through. As always, hit that QR code in the top left corner. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. Choops, hit them with that magic number.
It's one. It's always one. Just tell one person. Come on. Let's have some fun.
Seriously. Yeah, help us to grow our channel, grow our following. We have 311 YouTube subscribers. We are on our way to 1,000. We are working our asses off to get there. We need your help to do it. Again, if you know somebody that would enjoy our show, just do us a favor, share it with them. How many other podcasts do you know that are live 4 nights a week?
I don't know many.
I can't say that I do either.
No. I didn't know you were looking for an answer. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You gave one. No, that's perfect. That's
I was quick. Quick off my feet. Yeah.
And also make sure that you are following the Main Event Wrestling Network at mainevent_net on all social media platforms. Let me get that link up there. We've got blogs. We've got fan art. We've got amazing podcasters as part of our network. We've got 2 of them joining us here in just a little bit. Make sure you're giving us all a follow so you can see what it is that we're doing. Podcast Dad, as much as we love the show this past weekend, SummerSlam, there's one other thing that we're super excited about getting to experience. What would that be? Okay. Some of us spent more money than others at the WWE SummerSlam store. However, if you were not in the area, use our code in this top left corner here.
How was I supposed to get that?
Stop it.
That was terrible. That was awful.
We have done this 206 times. You have an idea. It's literally the same list of announcements that I burn through every single episode. I figured you'd pick up on these things by now.
If you need some SummerSlam merch, use our affiliate, please. If you need some just regular summer merch, use the affiliate. If you need, we crowned 4 new champions at SummerSlam. If you want some of their merch,
not one, not
use
2,
the affiliate.
not 3. More than the podcast dad thought. But speaking of merch, had a little something come in the mail today. I'm super upset that it did not show up in time to come with me to Cleveland, but I got one. I finally got our Support Independent Wrestling merchandise. Please do us a favor, go to the Wrestling Junkies merch store and check this out here. We have shirts, we have tank tops, we have hoodies. The podcast mom certainly appreciates that we have women's tees. We have beanies, not hats, I know, and mugs. Yes, I normally I would have my mug here, but I figured today I got to go to SummerSlam Hydro Flask.
That's fine. I'm a shill. Buy our stuff.
Yeah. And also, shout out to a few people that we got to run into this weekend. Shout out to Dustin Alberti at Absolute Intense Wrestling. Seriously, 2 amazing shows that we saw this weekend, and quite frankly, at least in our opinion, they were better than GCW, and I enjoyed GCW a lot.
I didn't go to GCW, so I'm biased.
Why didn't you go, buddy?
Because I wanted to go. So also we ran into on the way into SummerSlam. Who did we run into?
We ran into JP and Pluggo of Between Two Beards. Yes. Seriously, we were walking next to them for probably about a half a mile, give or take, and we hear them talking about Silva 2, and I look and I'm like, wait, what the shit? And then they had the same realization. It's just like, don't you love when moments like that, absolutely come together? So it was great to finally see those guys in person. Sorry that we did not get a chance to have a beer with them in that moment, but hey, it just says that.
Go check out their interview with Gunther.
Yeah, seriously, that was, oh god, they killed it. Absolutely, great group of guys over there. Also, shout out to our new friends at Gorilla Press Apparel for the swag that we received. We got a great announcement coming for you guys soon related to our relationship with them. Cannot wait to talk about that. And actually, speaking of which, I think Will's in the chat right here because this was something we also saw. Dislocated shoulder for Dex Royal, pretty nasty injury he had at the AIW tailgate. yeah, shout out to him. It was a hell of a match in that moment, and it's super shitty how it came to an end for him as far as that weekend. But the recovery process begins. Cannot wait to see what he does once he's back and up on his feet for sure.
Yes, 100%.
These announcements are getting along in the tooth. Two more things. September 7th, Battle for Sale Creek. All proceeds benefiting Sale Creek Middle School, presented by SCI Tournament. Great matches here. Sensei Aaron Wade taking on Mad Dog Connolly in a dog collar match. God bless and good luck. Also, coming up, we've got It's My Party. I'll crib if I want to. Intergender Bonanza number 20. We are sponsoring our good friend Sammy Chaos, who is also taking on Killdozer Matt Tremont. Speaking of Killdozer Matt Tremont, Jameson Shook, good for you, happened this past weekend at the TWA Arena. My God, the havoc he wreaked on his body taking on Matt Tremont himself is something you need to behold. So if you got IWTV, do yourselves a favor, check out this match, check out this event. Shout out to the good Dr. Landon Hale who was on it. It's just an amazingly talented group of people, and I'm so happy for what he was able to pull off. Jameson Shook winning the SCI Futures Tournament this year. Don't sleep on him. This kid's going to be something here.
I would have to agree.
Yeah. But without further ado, it is time to bring in at least one of our guests right now. The other has baby duty right now, so he will probably be joining us a little bit later on. But we did get to, for the very first time, meet some members of the Main Event Wrestling Network. I'm going to pull that picture up here. Look at us all having a good time here. We had a couple of Dudley boys. We had the podcast parents. I'm looking good in my 90s fit. And Mr. OTM himself, getting to meet all these guys for the first time. So without further ado, let's go on and bring in one of the hosts of the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, Mr. OTM, Kyle Gagliardi. Gags, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, boys, we had ourselves quite the weekend. I know we talked a big game, but I would say it definitely delivered. And if you cannot tell, my voice is still not at 100%, but it is great to see you guys and talk to you once again.
Same here. It was awesome to meet in person. I will say that. And hey, shout out to me for discovering that catfish.
Oh, I tell you what, I had to tell my parents about that catfish. Changed my life. And they're like, I didn't know you like catfish. I'm like, I'm down to try anything. It's a wrestling weekend.
Yes, that's right. And the Tower of Mimosa that we got. That was
you guys.
Also,
that was my.
You added tequila to it too, didn't you?
Yeah, it was a joint thought between Mr. Cincinnati and the podcast mom. I'm no stranger to Mimosa Towers, but to mix the flavors, add a little bit of tequila. I think that it was a great decision. So shout out to Heather, especially wanting to spend her 40th birthday weekend with a bunch of D-gens like us.
I will acknowledge that. Yep.
Thank you.
So, gentlemen, let's get right on into it. We've seen a lot of wrestling over the last 96 hours. I don't even know where the hell to begin at this point. That's a lot of it here. I think, you know what, we went for SummerSlam. This is a SummerSlam recap. It's in the title. Yes, we made main event moves and main event memories, but let's talk about the reason that we weren't in Cleveland. SummerSlam, Cleveland Browns Stadium, whatever.
First Energy.
Hooday.
Whatever.
Go back, go.
And, gentlemen, this was... I think that the word or the phrase that we keep dancing around is hard reset here. Podcast Dad did not think we would see more than 3 title changes, and we saw 4. So very clearly, another chapter is set to begin in the world of WWE, especially as we make our way towards the end of 2024. So let's dive right on in. Liv Morgan defeats Rhea Ripley to retain the Women's World Championship. Dirty Dominic Mysterio does make his presence felt and costs Mommy the championship, aligning with Liv Morgan in the kiss scene around the world. Mr. OTM, I'm going to start with you. Give me your thoughts on the match, what you think about the execution of this turn on Mommy.
I thought it was excellent. And like I said earlier in the week, I thought that was probably the most predictable outcome out of all this story. But I think sometimes the predictable route is the good route. And that's the result that we got here at SummerSlam. And we even discussed it in person. We had multiple conversations about who could start and who could end the show. You knew they had to start hot. And you start hot with this feud that you got between Liv, Dom, and Rhea. I thought it was well executed. It made a lot of sense. I mean, it even started with Dom grabbing that chair from Rhea because, like he said to her, you're going to get DQ'd. You're not going to win the title by doing that. So they kind of teased it a little bit, but you didn't know with 100% certainty until it actually happened. And then, like you said, the kiss scene around the world. We're obviously not done with this feud, and I cannot wait to see on Monday tonight, here in a couple hours, what's going to happen next.
Podcast day?
No, they played it. They played it perfectly. If you remember, that's how Liv won the title way back when. For Becky Lynch, it was the same mistake from Dominic Mysterio, and turns out it wasn't a mistake. Dom was into it the entire time, and I think we found out a little bit later on in the night somebody else was too. But great opener, a lot of heat. The crowd loved Rhea. Did not like Liv. Did not like Dom. Dom was one of the top heels on the night, obviously.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, it kind of like Kyle said, it was predictable, but in a good way, in the way that I wanted it to go, because I think we're done booing Rhea Ripley. I think Rhea Ripley is full-fledged face at this point, and keeping Dom with her doesn't really make too much sense.
Yeah, I mean, she's had those face reactions. I mean, definitely for the entirety of 2024 at this point.
Yeah.
And I mean, at least a year now, I think that we've gotten those reactions. Leave it to Dominic Mysterio, who was already one of the top heels in wrestling, to execute essentially another heel turn as a heel. And it just, I mean, everything about it, start to finish, was perfection. I'm sure that we'll get his explanation tonight, as well as, the rest of the members of Judgment Day, and kind of figuring out where these alliances lie. But yeah, no, I think Rhea in chase mode right now puts her in that true babyface echelon right now, which they desperately need, because Becky Lynch is still away, and there's still some shuffling and injuries and things that are being dealt with, that, it just makes sense. Get her away from Judgment Day, let Liv take on this femme fatale role of being the dirty heel that stole Rhea's man. I mean, that's basically what the story is. I'm coming for everything you loved, appreciated, and cared about. Mission accomplished. And, it's going to be interesting to see what Rhea does to get her lick back.
The thing that surprised me, I don't know if you guys noticed this too while being there, is that the amount of people that actually were supporting Liv Morgan, that felt like a true 50-50 crowd, at least in my opinion, and I did not expect that.
Yeah, I agree with that 1,000%.
Yeah. No, it was that stadium feel, right? Like we got dueling chants the entire night, and in a match, in one of the matches we didn't expect, but I mean, it was just dueling chants the entire night. It was a really, really fun atmosphere. It came across on television well too. I haven't rewatched it yet, but from everything I've heard, it's like, hey, the crowd was lively, and being there, the crowd was lively.
Yeah. It came across really well on TV. I got the chance to re-watch it, and it definitely delivered.
Good.
Thanks. Yeah, no, I mean, it's Monday night. We'll see what happens, all the fallout when it comes to Judgment Day. Liv, Dirty Dom, Rhea. Can't wait to see what happens next. But this next one, finally, Braun Breaker defeats Sami Zayn to win the Intercontinental Championship. I think last week when we were doing our prediction show, we set the over-under at 5.5 minutes, and this made the over by 10 seconds. And it's rumors that I think this match was cut short on top of that. I think they wanted a longer bout, but this was all that it needed to be. So, Podcast Dad, take me through what you're thinking about Braun finally being the anointed one of the Workhorse title.
I think it's time. Braun is on the rise. He's not, I think, world title picture quite yet, but a solid run with the IC championship is going to do him well. We know he can carry a division. We saw him do it in NXT for a very, very long time. And I think this win is a lot about Braun, but I think it's a little bit more about Sami as well. Let's get Sami into that main event scene. It's time, right? Because right now, we have a new world champion. Who's the last person to beat that world champion? Sami Zayn. Like, the story tells itself. And the sympathy, the reaction, everything, anything you want to call it, that Sami got when he challenged Roman for the world title, I think would be the same thing when he challenges for the World Heavyweight Championship. This is what needs to happen. It elevates both, even Sami in a loss, Braun in a win. I think it was a win-win for both parties, and I'm excited to see what Braun does as a mid-card champion, because I think he's going to run through the division just like Gunther did.
Sure.
But I think they're going to try to make it a little bit different than what we just saw. So I'm interested to see what happens.
So when you say different than what we just saw, are you talking about the length of the reign itself, and not necessarily a nearly 2-year reign? I mean,
he's not going to have 2 years.
Yeah, that I would agree with. I think that again, he got over very quickly on the main roster. That it's not going to take long for people to start. We're already hearing the dog chants, and I wonder if that had a lot to do with the stadium that we were in. But it worked. It got over. But
I was barking.
Whatever.
So I don't have a voice.
Okay. Come on, Eric. Just one bark. Come on.
Come on. Let's hear it.
No, but Mr. OTM, I do have a question for you. Just because you did put this in our group chat earlier today, you heard a little rumor potentially, and this goes back to the future for Sami Zayn, a little rumor about potentially a trade between Raw and SmackDown, with A-Town Down Under going to Raw, Sami and Jey Uso returning to SmackDown, especially given events that happen later on in the night. You think that's the right move for Sami Zayn at this course, now that he doesn't have gold around his waist?
I think the answer to that is yes. That's what the streets are saying. I don't know if that's 100% confirmed, but that's what I've been seeing on social media as of today. Haven't really seen any updates since, but I think that's the direction a lot of us anticipated to be next for Sami Zayn, was for him to get involved in this new bloodline feud. So it makes a lot of sense for them to just do a little swap of two guys and send them on over to the other brand. That way you can further develop that wrinkle into that storyline. It's not a fair trade on paper. Like, if you were going to compare this in sports terms, A-Town Down Under for Jey Uso and Sami Zayn is not fair whatsoever. That's a steal for SmackDown, but I think that was definitely the right call if it is going to be happening for Sami Zayn to pivot on over to Friday Night SmackDown.
Here, podcast Dad. Any thoughts on a potential trade there?
If it sets up War Games, yeah. Long-term wise, I don't know if that's the direction you want to go with Cody Rhodes being the champion on SmackDown. Cody needs heel challengers.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I think this story overall, I think they're just kind of getting to that next chapter, which we know is November. I think this can very easily be a one-off. You know what? Roman's going to find himself, down. He's going to find, trenches are down. He's going to have to figure out who has his back and who doesn't. And, if there's one person that has been loyal to a fault no matter what has happened with them, Sami Zayn was one of the first people to come up to Jey Uso when he made that move to Raw and try to put things behind them. You can put Sami back into that story and help Sami Zayn, and Sami Zayn can help Roman Reigns with that redemption arc that he's going to have to go on. And it's going to have to be much more significant than anything that we saw with Jey Uso, because he had a 4-year stranglehold on both brands for a very long time. And having to, make amends and give that mea culpa will be interesting to see. But I think, as far as Braun Breaker is concerned, his time is now. Can't wait to see what he does with this run.
Who do you guys think's next to challenge Braun Breaker?
Ilya.
Well, those same streets are saying Ilya.
Oh, really?
Why
I thought
not?
Ilya would go after Gunther.
Bash in Berlin, though, as great as it is, to have those two one-on-one, I think it's too soon for that match, because Ilya should at least be in a position to be seen as somebody that can walk out with the title if he's going to go against Gunther, and that's my opinion. He's
not walking out with the title against Braun.
I know that. I'm just saying that when it comes to that World Heavyweight title, because that's the main event scene. I don't think that Ilya is at the main event scene yet, and that's what you.
He's a viable threat for the Intercontinental Championship, is what you're saying, which I would agree with.
Yes, on paper, even in a loss, I know he's not winning, Chris. I know that. I'm just saying that right now, if it's booking for Bash in Berlin, I would rather Braun run through Ilya than Gunther run through Ilya.
Give me Bronson Reed.
How many times are we going to do that? I feel like
I haven't seen Braun and Bronson
put into a match. Yeah, we haven't seen that specifically, but how many chances is Braun Reed going to get?
He beat Okada.
People forget. I forgot.
Exactly. There's a story right there. He beat Okada.
Yeah, with an AEW guy.
Hey. Oh, thanks for the plug.
Yeah. Duh. I gotta, come on. I'm a company man here. So everybody go give Coastal Empire Wrestling a follow on X at CEW Savannah. Next up here, LA Knight defeats Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Accompanied by Machine Gun Kelly.
Shut up.
To win the United States Championship. That was... yeah, that happened.
Logan Paul's good, and I hate to say it.
Yeah.
I really do. He's a terrible person, but he's really good at wrestling.
He is. I mean, that was... that match was everything that it needed to be. This is a year-long story that Papa H told us. Starting with the Slim Jim Battle Royal, 2 world title opportunities, a singles win against AJ Styles at WrestleMania, teaming with John Cena. I mean, on paper, those are all the ingredients to kick off a good title run, if you ask me. And Logan Paul, I think 260 or 270 some odd days as champion, 3 title defenses. It's Boyz II Men says it's hard to say goodbye to yesterday. No, the hell it's not.
Mr. OTM, you can go on this match.
I mean, what is there to say that hasn't already been said? I think everybody in Cleveland Browns Stadium was rooting for LA Knight to win that match. I mean, Logan Paul did an incredible move up the top rope to the outside, and people still chanted, "You still suck." That's how much people hate Logan Paul. But that's what the beauty of this match was. You have a guy that literally everyone's behind, and a guy that's from this town and still getting booed out of the building. But like you said, Chris, I agree. What he does in ring is fantastic. But what Mr. Cincinnati was saying, the 3 title defenses really bothered me. So this is why now was the correct time to pull the trigger with LA Knight. Now you have that United States Championship on TV every single week. And we can find out if he is the real deal, because we haven't got to see what LA Knight looks like as a champion. Now we get to see it. And maybe he'll take that next step after this.
No, I agree. Eric, can you vamp for a second?
Yeah, so while we were also at
all right, sorry, I'm back.
WrestleCon, I got a signed X-Pac figure. That was pretty
Yes, he
cool.
did.
Yeah.
Good job. Sorry, I had to sneeze and it went away.
Yeah. Met
That was the camera guy.
X-Pac, met the bro, met RVD and his wife, I think she is. Yeah.
Let's call it that.
Stop it.
Yeah,
Stop it.
LA Knight getting the win. Yes, it's time for the U.S. title to be back on television. Like this was way too long. Like you said, they told the year-long story though, so I'm not mad at it. Should it have happened at at WrestleMania? Probably. I mean, considering that he didn't defend the title between the 2 shows, so maybe. But hindsight being 2020, I'm happy it happened at SummerSlam because I was there. But it's crowd was crazy for him. They loved it. I mean, hearing all like throughout the entire match.
Throughout the entire weekend.
It didn't quiet down at all during the match. They caught us.
You kept it going, Chris. You were yelling all weekend.
I tried. They were this close, I thought, to giving Logan Paul that win after that knuckle shot. I was like, oh my god, they're gonna do it. And that kick out, the crowd went nuts.
Yeah.
LA Knight got it. 1, 2, 3. It was an awesome moment. It was an awesome moment. And I'm excited to see what happens. Although I am again going to play a little bit of devil's advocate. You now have 2 big-time baby faces as your main champions over there on SmackDown. So it'll be an interesting balance to see how they play off of each other, because I have to think they're going to interact at some point, and then B, how do they balance each other out a little bit?
I think they'll be fine. Papa H has figured out just about everything else outside of this. So
okay, figure out the tag titles, the women's tag titles. And the other tag titles. How about those? DIY. Come on.
Let's
come
not
on.
talk about that. We can't talk about it. Sorry.
How freaking cool was that Friday night?
That was awesome.
That was
Thursday night. Yeah.
It was Thursday night. Friday night was terrible.
It was a long weekend. I get it.
It was a very long weekend. Yeah.
That was a cool moment for AIW. Shout out to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up, this match, Podcast Dad was 10 toes down, thinking that Bayley was going to walk out with her championship, and she didn't. Mr. Cincinnati proved himself right once again.
One time.
And here we are.
Everybody gets one.
One time got me the winner of the predictions contest hosted by OTM, so blow it out your ass.
It's not very
I don't know
nice.
what you're talking about.
I apologize.
No memory of that.
Neither do I.
I got receipts. I'll okay. All right.
Hey, to be fair, I got this match right too. I want to put that out there. Even though you are the OTM PLE champion, Mr. Cincinnati, I did have this right, too.
I mean, that's all well and good, but you didn't win your own contest, so it's irrelevant now.
I haven't won it in a couple months, guys. I'm sorry.
That's unfortunate.
That's fine. Everybody won the hardcore title. It's fine. So this match, I wanna go back and rewatch it because live the crowd didn't seem into it because I think it was such a big moment with LA Knight winning, and then the next match was Punk. I think this one kind of got stuck a little bit. I want to go back and rewatch it on television because I want to watch the match a little bit more.
I don't think it wasn't as bad as you're worried about. She definitely, I mean, especially when
I'm not saying it was bad.
Spot.
Yeah,
no. But like, no, it came across better. At least I think it came across better on TV than when we were actually in the stadium. Especially when she got her up and did the powerbomb spot and really got them back into it. So
to be fair, I missed the powerbomb spot.
Okay, yeah,
I had to pee.
That's fair.
So I missed that spot, but that I have no doubt that it was a good match. Just the atmosphere in the stadium wasn't there, and it kind of took me out of it in the moment. Yes, unfortunately, it was.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those guys that went to the bathroom, just especially because we knew what was coming up next. It was just like I.
So that's mine. Yes, Eric, you were right. Nia Jax wins. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all. I want to see what this run looks like. I think Tiffy's going to cash in sooner rather than later at this point. But I want to. The dynamic is fun because something I did notice was she's holding up the title and Tiffy's staring at it.
Yep.
Right, the entire time. So it's still there. And what's next for Bayley?
No idea.
I wish I had an answer to that.
I don't either. Tag team? I don't know who she tags with, though.
Yeah, I don't know who.
Like you said, the tag division is not the best right now, so.
Because it's like, it might be one of those things where maybe a few weeks off. Let's keep her off TV until after Bash in Berlin, maybe.
Yeah,
just to kind of give her a reset here. And I think now that we've talked about both women's matches, I'll ask you guys this: were you surprised that we didn't see Charlotte Flair at all?
No.
Okay.
I think with what we kind of knew was coming, once we saw that the stipulation was the Bloodline rules in the main event, that was the big return that we knew we were going to get, and we ended up getting it. So if you have Charlotte there, that's a lot going on for one show.
Sure.
There's a lot.
Because we already had a lot of moments as it is. And like this match itself, like you guys were saying, it really wasn't that bad. When I watched it back, the only moment where they did kind of, you could hear the crowd react was that powerbomb spot, unfortunately. But it just makes a lot more sense, like you guys were saying, with Nia Jax and the Tiffany dynamic going forward. That's why I thought it would have been a great idea for Nia to win this match, because you could still play with that for a couple more months. I know you said, Chris, you would like to see it sooner rather than later, but I say we stretch it maybe to Survivor Series around that point, and then you flip the title. And then maybe Tiffany could be defending that title at WrestleMania next year. I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that would have to be the plan. Like, I don't think Nia would walk into Mania with the title.
No, I don't think so.
No. I mean, you know what? I'm not going to write it off yet, because I mean she's been the champion for 2 days now. Has not, we don't know what's set up for her. We do have a pretty good idea that in this new Triple H regime that Mania card is probably going to be mostly done by the fall. So
if it's not already done now,
so we'll see. I just think that as critical as some of us have been about Nia on this show, she's done the work to get to this point where they put the title on her. Let's see her get an opportunity to run with it and see what kind of champion she is before we write her off as not being able to, not going to WrestleMania.
That's fine. Agreed. And I ate my words on last week. I said her run has been much better. She put in the work. So yeah. I know when I'm wrong. I admit it.
Not always, but okay.
Don't get me fired up.
Okay.
I got to see a fired up podcast dad on Thursday night, and it was very exciting. I don't get to see this side of him off camera, so this is our first time meeting in person.
Yeah,
you wait.
Well, we got a friendly wager on the line too for week 1.
Mm-hmm.
They do.
We're not talking about that right now because I'll get fired up some more.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we don't want him to go crazy again.
Gentlemen, this match has been 8 months in the making.
10 years.
10 years, 10.5 years since his last singles match. CM Punk returned to the ring, taking on Drew McIntyre with special guest referee Seth freaking Rollins. This match lived up to the hype. This match absolutely lived up to the hype, and I gotta say, everything that they've done to keep these flames fanned while Punk rehabbed the tricep. I mean, they fired on all cylinders here, found a way to include Seth Rollins. Mr. OTM, we'll start with you, mostly because you've also done your rewatch of this match from start to finish. So, take me through your thoughts now that you've digested it a couple of times and what you saw and what you thought.
Yeah, for sure. So totally agree with you. I definitely believe it delivered. I'm not going to sit here and say it was the match of the night. I think the match we're going to talk about next was probably the match of the night. But nonetheless, it definitely did deliver. And I think they made the right call by having Drew McIntyre go over here. I was hesitant to definitively say Drew was going to win, knowing that in the past, under different leadership, if somebody is away for a long period of time and they return, they're probably not going to lose their first match back. So that was my thought process, was that CM Punk is just going to piss off Drew McIntyre a little bit more by sneaking out a win at SummerSlam. But I think they went with the more intriguing avenue here by Drew McIntyre one-upping CM Punk, because CM Punk couldn't get past the fact that Seth Rollins had that bracelet on with AJ's name and, God, why am I blanking on the dog's name? Larry. How could I forget? There was a Larry chant going on at Cleveland Brown Stadium. But no, and when watching it back on the rewatch, I missed a couple things, because you know how that will be if you're kind of far away from everything. Sure. And there was a lot of, words said back and forth. So that was nice, and it kind of tied everything together. But yeah, definitely one of my favorite matches of the night for sure. And I like that Drew won.
Like I said.
No, it was a great callback to the 97 match with Taker, Brett, and Shawn. They all came out wearing similar gear, as you pointed out, Eric. It was a cool thing. It was a cool, to pay homage. Homage made the shirt, but to pay homage to that program back in the day. Yeah, I think it worked out very well. And again, I don't see anybody losing in this match. Drew finally gets a big win on a big pay-per-view that he desperately needed. It's time. They can still play with this feud a little bit because he took back the bracelet.
Yes.
Punk has some motivation now to go after both men, and Seth now has motivation to go after Punk. It's all there, and I think it will ultimately lead to a triple threat between all of them for maybe the number one contendership at Survivor Series or something like that. Like the winner gets a shot there in where is it? Vancouver.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that could be a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm excited to see the story keep going. Being in that stadium when Cult of Personality came on was unreal. It was unreal that was actually happening, that we were there at SummerSlam in 2024 and CM Punk was coming down. It was that was a moment, and that's a moment you won't forget. It was one of the coolest things I've seen in wrestling, so it was awesome.
One of the many CM Punk moments I've been a part of, and that arguably is up there with the best of them.
Best in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah, everything about how they've executed this program has been to perfection. I think the lingering question is, when will we get this blow-off that involves all three of them going at each other at once? I'm going to stand by this prediction. I still think Triple Threat, Hell in a Cell, Bad Blood. That's cool. That's my thought. I would.
Kyle's not in.
No,
Kyle's not in.
I don't want it. I don't want the Triple Threat to be the Hell in the Cell. I think if you're going to do Hell in the Cell, it should just be Drew and CM Punk. And then afterwards, you can do Seth Rollins and CM Punk some more. Why don't we do the Triple Threat at Berlin, and then you can have the blow-off between Drew and CM Punk, just one-on-one, because there's more of a story there, not just Twitter fingers between Seth Rollins and CM Punk.
But the thing is, I mean, the entire story for Punk and Drew has been the Twitter fingers turning to trigger fingers, and a lot of that was reactionary because of an injury. They had no choice but to build the feud that way, and I think that's what a lot of it is, while it's not the most conventional way to build a feud, Triple H, 2004, that was probably one of the biggest rivalries of the year, was that Triple Threat feud for the World Heavyweight title. They got WrestleMania, and they got backlash out of that. So, I think, despite the fact that it has been a very social media heavy feud, all these guys have every reason to not be done with each other anytime soon. Rollins is pissed that Punk is even back after everything he said over the last 2 years. Punk is pissed because Drew McIntyre took him out. He's also pissed now that Seth Rollins has cost him a match at SummerSlam, that return, that vengeance against Drew McIntyre for what he's done to him. Seth Rollins is thinking, hey, despite the fact that I hate your guts, all I did was pick up your bracelet so it didn't get lost. Same thing that we've seen how many other referees, regardless of indie or otherwise, do in their role as a referee, and that's never gotten misconstrued before, but it did because it was these two particular people. Drew McIntyre is still pissed that, hey, I should have been world champion after WrestleMania, and I'm even though it had nothing to do with Seth, I'm still going to take it out on the former champion. So there's all these things that are still kind of in the mix here that, I just think Triple Threat Hell in a Cell is not out of the realm of possibility.
Oh, it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility. I prefer the singles match. I won't be mad if we see the Triple Threat Hell in the Cell match, but I don't know. Just not for me.
It's fair.
Ever seen one of those before?
That
Triple Threat Hell in a Cell?
I don't know if we've ever seen a Triple Threat Hell in a Cell.
Maybe that's why I'm saying no to it, because I've just never seen it.
Yeah, well, Saturday night, we also didn't think we were going to see 4 title changes. We can't remember the last time that happened, and here's the 4th of them. Gunther defeated Damian Priest by a technical submission to win the World Heavyweight Championship. Big, meaty men slap meat, sirloin, sons of bitches match. What a match. Well, that's really all that I can say is, Gunther, let's put aside the ring stuff here. And I was in line of concessions as Gunther's music hits. You can feel that out there. It's just one of those themes that is just like when it just hits you right in your soul there. So that you're in the presence of greatness. You know that you're in for something awesome here. I don't think any of us are really surprised that Damian Priest lost this match once we saw the involvement from Finn Balor.
Nope. But shout out to Priest, man. He's this title run. I think he's proved he belongs in the main event scene.
Yeah.
Every title defense he had was good. And you're saying it's not, then you don't like Damian Priest or you don't like wrestling. His title reign was pretty damn good.
It wasn't perfect by any means, but
no,
it was a lot
better than Bayley's.
Yep. He had some really, really good matches. It was better than Logan Paul's. He had some really, really good matches. Kind of proved that he belongs in that main event scene. They gave him a mega push, and he proved his worth. And to go in there and have a really good match with Gunther, I think, is part of that. Obviously, the Finn Balor involvement, I think we all saw coming.
Yep.
But it's okay. I enjoyed what we saw. The lasting image of that mean mug of Finn Balor as he goes to sleep is going to be the thing that motivates Priest just moving forward.
Yeah.
Is the Judgment Day done?
I would say Rhea and Damian are done with they're
Correct.
done, but I don't think the Judgment Day is. No.
I don't think the Judgment Day is done. I think Liv is just going to slide right in and be a part of that Judgment Day now.
No. Not
Mr. Etienne.
Yeah, well, this was my match of the night. I thought these guys absolutely delivered. Like you were saying, Chris, I think Damian Priest deserves a lot more credit for this title run. Every single match that he's put on at the PLE has delivered. And granted, it's not hard to deliver a great match against the ring general himself, Gunther. But, man, I got to give him his praises as well, because every single time he's put into a high-profile spot, Gunther delivers. And I am not worried whatsoever on how this title reign is going to go, because we saw how the IC title reign went, and it was fantastic.
We saw the UK title went.
Yeah, exactly. All this guy does is hold gold when he's in the WWE. So I'm excited for what's to come from that title reign. I think Damian Priest versus Finn Balor going forward is going to be a great feud that could culminate as well at Bad Blood. You have that feud and the CM Punk Drew Seth Rollins feud that's red hot right now. And then you still also have Liv and Rhea. I know a lot of it has to do with the Judgment Day itself, but there's some good stuff that's coming out of, SummerSlam. Yep. And I think Gunther winning was probably one of, if not my favorite moment in ring, at least. Roman's return was number one.
For sure. And I see no reason to waste any more time. Let's talk about it. Cody Rhodes, Solo Sikoa, Bloodline Rules match for the the Undisputed WWE Championship. This one clocked in at about 29 minutes, 10 seconds.
Yep.
Thank God it was not nearly as long as last year's because...
Oh, my God.
Slog. Yeah.
Yeah, last year's I was dead.
It wasn't great.
It wasn't great. No, this one was good. Man, I said it on the way back. I think the Solo and the main event title scene experiment should be done. It wasn't, I think, as exciting as I thought that match could have been. It took a minute to get to that second act, and I think I said that multiple times.
While we were there, yeah.
While we were there, like, all right, let's get into the next part. Like, I think the stadium was anticipating Roman Reigns coming, and when you make it a Bloodline Rules match, like, let's get some weapons in there. Let's have some shenanigans, and we did see a couple shenanigans there towards the end. We saw the Gorillas of Destiny come out. We saw Orton and Kevin Owens, which I did not expect to see those two. So that was a fun surprise. Jacob Fatu just being a freak. Hopefully not hurt too bad.
Yeah.
And then Roman comes out.
Crowd goes banana.
Real quick. Pour one out. He got Def Rebel. They Def Rebel, which is weird, but pour one out. But no, it was, the crowd exploded. Yeah. Just watching.
Definitely.
I've watched that back, and it gives me chills. Like, the crowd went insane. And when he hit the spear, or when he hit the Superman punch, he did the ooh-ah in the corner. The entire place felt like it shook. Like, it was just
12 years.
Crazy.
12 years. To get to that monster babyface point, they are finally there. The original.
We lose him.
Tribal Chief called. No, I'm here. It froze for a second. You got me? You guys got me? Okay, just checking. You guys didn't say a word, so it had me worried here. But that's what it is. As far as Solo and kind of what's next for this bloodline, I would agree. I think the main event experiment should probably be over. I also expected a lot more in the way of spots in this match, just to make up for, again, the lack of experience in the main event scene. I thought that there would be more as far as just general weapons and chaos than we actually saw in this match. I think they relied a lot on just the run-ins that they knew were going to happen towards the end of the match, but I think there was a lot more that they could have done to get us ready for those moments than they actually did. But yeah, I can't say that I'm looking to see Solo in the world title picture anytime soon. I think that, feuding with the Bloodline, this is going to be great. We're going to get that Roman Solo one-on-one match. I think that, which it is. I think that might be a win that Solo needs first to get himself a little bit more credibility.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up, is I'm not ready to, ready to just throw away the Solo main event push. I think he deserves another chance, because this is one of those matches that if you watch back, I think benefited the most by the rewatch. I enjoyed it a lot more than I did in person. Maybe that's just all the fatigue. We watched a lot of wrestling that day. We were kind of just like, all right, give me something. I need more. But
I need Roman.
Well, that's ultimately what everybody was kind of looking forward to, which takes away a little bit from the in-ring action between Cody and Solo. But if you do watch it back, I thought it was a solid match. But Cody's still winning, though, and getting that reaction while having Roman return was still great, because he's still got a huge pop for that 1, 2, 3.
Oh, Cody's still the guy, and I think that's obvious. Real quick, let's retire the Jacob Fatu spot. That's now 2 injuries off that spot. Like, cracked Cody's ribs. Now you have an ankle injury. Like, let's save that one. You don't have to do it every SmackDown. It's fine. But like it. And I'm gonna go back to it now. Okay, we have LA Knight.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And now a mega babyface Roman Reigns.
Ooh.
CM Punk.
I'm talking about just on SmackDown.
Okay, I get where you're going.
You also have Kevin Owens.
Yep.
You want Sami Zayn and Jey Uso over there.
Sheesh.
Yeah, Randy Orton. who's the bad guy? Like, who's Cody's next challenger? I have no idea. Please no.
Hikuleo.
Please no.
Apollo Crews.
Sure.
Hey, he got the Manscaped commercial. That was really good.
That's his claim to being at SummerSlam was in a commercial for Manscaped.
It was an entertaining one.
Yeah, I think Triple H has earned our trust to say, hey, let's see what happens. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm like, man, there are a lot of baby faces right now. Somebody's gonna have to turn heel. Randy.
And I'm sure,
but
that's the one.
This is kind of that starting the next chapter here. So here, at least we know, okay, here are these champions going forward. I don't see any of these being short title reigns, per se. And by short, I'm going to say
6 or less.
Yeah, I was even going to say 90 to 120. 3 to 4 months is kind of short in this new era. But I think they all surpass that. I personally think that all of these champions will have their titles by the time that December 31st rolls around. That's just me.
Yeah, I would say it.
But, I think that now that we know who our new champions are that are set, then we're going to start to see the shuffling of those pieces to create stories for them to get behind. So, gentlemen, as we wrap up our SummerSlam coverage, Mr. OTM, we'll start with you. Give us a letter grade on SummerSlam 2024.
I think it's an A-. It definitely surpassed last year's SummerSlam. One of my favorite shows that I've even attended live. I just thought it was fantastic from top to bottom. Every match felt important, maybe besides the Nia and Bayley thing. But once again, I think that's just because of the way they were positioned on the card. But yeah, sure. I think it's a strong 93, close to an A. I think every result was warranted. So yeah, good show from top to bottom.
Podcast that.
Yeah, I'll go A. I want to rewatch it, but being there live, it was a great show. Like I said, or like Kyle said, it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun there. Again, being a little biased because we were there, but every match did feel important. Every match had a fun moment in it. Every match was engaging. Yeah. I was into every match, so that I can't get mad at that.
That's a tough ask.
There's a couple matches last year that I was not into, and it's hard to keep a stadium that full, everyone's attention that they were able to keep for that long. They did a good job.
I'm also going to give this an A. It should have been an A+, but I think that it just took them a while in that Solo Cody match to get into that next gear to kind of get everything set up for that final act. As far as the run-ins that we saw, but I think top to bottom, 4 straight days of just incredible wrestling. Again, shout out to AIW, shout out to GCW, everybody that we got to meet up with and interact with and say, hey, we've got AIW's Intense Wrestling Champion, Wes Barkley, coming on the show tomorrow night, 6:30 live Eastern. His future is way too bright. Eric Taylor will be joining us on August 19th, I believe.
Hell yeah.
Oh, boy.
Hey. No. The boy should be saved for who's coming on August 20th because we're giving Argus Artois a live mic. Yeah, no, that one, I'm a little scared.
Also, acknowledge the podcast, Mom.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Shout out to Vogus. Shout out to Tuck, who could not join us today for this episode. But, Mr. OTM, as we wrap up this show, where can everybody find you? When is OTM?
I think he cut out a little bit for me over here, but I'm assuming he's asking when we are recording next, and we will be recording live this Thursday at 7 p.m. Central. You can follow us on all the socials at Pod on the Mark. You can follow me at 2SweetKyle. And I want to just say to you guys, it was once again an absolute pleasure to finally, meet in person, to spend literally the entire weekend. I saw you guys. Yeah. I saw you every single day. AIW on Thursday. We had ourselves a great time. We were third row. Please watch it back if you haven't seen it already. Friday, TV. GCW. Chris got to spend some time with the podcast mom. There's just so many memories that were made, and that's the cool thing about pro wrestling is that it has brought us together. It has brought many people together that you would have never crossed paths with if it wasn't for this thing that we love. and the app X. We'll call it X still. But yeah, it's just crazy that we got to do that all together, and hopefully we get to do it again soon because I had a blast.
February is right around the corner, boys.
The road to the Rumble, brother.
Let's go. Yeah, it certainly will not.
I can't believe we're doing it again.
Road trip. Yeah, no, we're gonna run it back. We're gonna have some fun. I'm sure that we'll catch some indie shows as well between now and February. But Kyle, always great to see you. Kick ass this week. We will be watching this Thursday OTM live 8/7 Central. Make sure to give them a follow. Follow all of us at mainevent_net. Follow us at Junkies Pod. That is going to do it for us tonight. Again, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be breaking down Monday Night Raw and all the SummerSlam fallout that happens there. Wes Barkley's joining the show. Check out that hat. Signed by Kurt Angle. It's a good look.
That one. There it is.
Won by Jim Tucker. Gifted to the podcast family.
And then it free. Yeah, no. So, yeah. There we go. So it's time. It's time to wrap this up. So for Mr. OTM, for the podcast dad, and Mr. Cincinnati, thank you so much for joining the Wrestling Junkies Podcast. Hit that QR code in the top left corner. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys tomorrow.